What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video I want to talk to you about why people are absolutely flocking to Airbnbs as investments right now and why people are flocking to Airbnbs as guests right now as well. Overall, this market is absolutely exploding right now. We're doing incredibly well if you know how to do it properly and you know the right areas to get into. And so I want to just break that down in this video because it's contradictory to what a lot of people would think. A lot of people are thinking nowadays that Airbnbs would be doing poorly when in fact the reality couldn't be further from the truth of that. So before we dive into all that in detail, I do want to just remind you, if you haven't already checked it out already, then you can just go ahead and check the description down below. There's a couple really great resources in there. Number one, if you're interested in actually investing into properties for short-term rental, if you're looking to invest in buying Airbnb properties or work with investors to co-invest in Airbnb properties, then I highly recommend you check out the link down below where you can schedule a quick 15-minute chat with me. That's going to be what you'll want to do for that because I'm actually going to be working with a really small, tight-knit group of students over the next 6 months here, helping them to invest in properties for short-term rental. So if that is you, then click the link down below and schedule that 15-minute call with me and talk more about it. And then also, if you are interested, if you're watching this video and you're seeing, holy smokes, there's going to be so many people, and there already are so many people hosting on Airbnb right now, bringing properties onto Airbnb, investing in properties for Airbnb, and that is causing a huge spike in demand for Airbnb property managers. You're absolutely right. There's a huge opportunity right now in a bunch of different areas, bunch of different locations all over the world where there's a huge opportunity for Airbnb property managers, a lot more demand for Airbnb property managers. So if you want to learn how to earn a full-time income and earn 6 figures a year managing other people's properties on Airbnb without actually buying, renting, furnishing, leasing, any of that, without putting any of your own money in, then I highly recommend you check out the free training linked in the description down below. It's going to walk you through step by step exactly how to do that. You can just click the link down below, register and grab a spot in the training, and then you can learn all that completely free. So highly recommend checking out both those things or whichever one you're interested in. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about why people are flocking to investing in short-term rentals right now and why people are flocking to putting their existing properties up on Airbnb right now. And that really just comes down to one major factor driving it, which is demand. There's a huge amount of demand for Airbnbs right now because of the shift that's happened in travel. Now, when you think about it, before all the craziness happened in the world, there was a lot of travel, a lot of tourism dollars going to hotels. And we all knew that Airbnb was an alternative to hotels, but they both kind of occupied their own little market shares and it was all pretty normal. You know, Airbnb was obviously growing very quickly even before this. They've been growing massively year over year ever since they got started as a company. And so there's always been a lot of growth there. But if you look at where the majority of tourism was happening, it was in major cities, understandably. A lot of people were coming in internationally and they were checking out major cities. There's a lot of business happening in major cities. And so there was always a really big draw to major cities. And so where does Airbnb have the most competition from hotels? Major cities, right? We all knew that Airbnb faced the least competition in more rural areas where there weren't hotels to compete with, where people were going and renting whole homes for their family getaway, for a cottage, a vacation, or out by national parks where they're renting a cabin, things like that. And always it's always been the dynamic there. But you've always seen the majority of travel and tourism was going towards major cities. Now what we're seeing is the exact opposite of that. Think about it. Yeah, the majority of tourism is now going out of major cities. Most people are stuck in these major cities that are now just glorified suburbs with really great takeout if you're in a nice one like Toronto that's got really great food from all over the place. So there's not a lot of advantages to being in a major city. In fact, you just have less space, more congestion, more people around you all over the place, and you can do less outdoor activity. So it's not as great as it once was when you could actually go and walk outside and go to shops and go sit down in a coffee shop or a restaurant or what have you. So the majority of the tourism is actually drawing away from these major cities. The other big factor is that not a lot of people that used to come to these major cities are allowed to come to the major cities anymore. You're not seeing international tourism happening. You're not seeing people often jump on a plane to fly somewhere, and that's normally how people got into the major cities. And the reason why is because they were coming from out of town. They needed to get there for business, or they wanted to check out a new city. Now what we're seeing is domestic tourism, and it's not people from the country coming into the city. It's the opposite. It's people from the city going out to the country. Because again, a city is not a very desirable place to be right now for obvious reasons with all the lockdowns in place. So what we're seeing is a lot of those densely packed urban centers. There's a huge population there, and they're all getting out to the surrounding areas that are a lot more desirable. So this is cottage country, this is national parks, this is really anywhere more rural with some great attractions or draws to it, whether that's hiking, whether that's water activities, whether it's just getting out and having some more space, whatever it might be. We're seeing a lot of people leaving the major cities. And so understandably, there's been a huge spike in demand and not as much supply, right? And so what happens when you have all this demand for rural properties and you don't have supply because there's no competition from big hotel chains? You don't see the Hilton or the Marriott with a big property out in this random little cottage country town or out in these more secluded areas where people are getting away to right now. And so obviously there's a lot more demand and not as much supply. So what happens? Prices absolutely skyrocket. In markets around Toronto and other markets I've explored all throughout the US, I've actually done a whole bunch of analysis of areas around national parks and different cottage type areas around North America. And we're seeing anywhere from a 20 to a 50% increase in the overall revenue these properties are generating in 2020 versus 2019. So you're seeing a huge spike in demand. Now, a lot of these areas were already good places to invest in. They had nice consistent traffic from people that were wanting to get away to a cottage getaway or go explore national parks. And you already had a good base of revenue coming in. So even investing in one of these properties in 2018, 2019, it still would have been a good call. And this applies to all kinds of different markets all over North America and all over Europe and Asia and Australia as well. I've seen all kinds of markets in all different parts of the world that perform really, really well. But then suddenly with the pandemic and all the close downs, they just absolutely skyrocketed. So now it's turned from a good or even a great investment before to an absolutely outstanding investment right now. And so obviously the prices are starting to catch up, but now is a really, really great time to get in before they catch up quite as much. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, if you've been dialed into the real estate market, especially in North America, it's been on the up and up. There's been a lot of competition for properties, but you can still get really, really great deals right now if you know what to look for and you know where to look for them. So all this is just a big trend, and you just want to keep your eye on this and make sure that you're aware of what's going on and why it's going on so that you can be educated and buy the right property. So again, if you buy a property that is a great investment back in 2018, 2019, and you can get it so it's still a good deal based on those numbers, then in 2020 and 2021 here, and probably in 2022 as well, you're still gonna have an even better next couple of years. And that's what I recently did. I recently invested in a property outside of Toronto that has some really strong numbers, even as an investment in 2018, 2019. So if we were buying it today and we were just able to produce the 2018, 2019 numbers, it would still be a great investment. But then if you look at the 2020 numbers and you look and project off of that, it's even better. It's absolutely outstanding. And that's always the goal, because that really makes it great, because for the first year or two, you can get some really strong cash flows coming in and build up your pool of money that you can go and funnel into other properties. And you know that you're still going to be cash flowing positive even when things start to settle back down, if they do end up going that direction. So again, if you want to learn more about this and you want to learn about how to actually start investing in Airbnbs, then I highly recommend you click the link down below and schedule a quick chat with me. Now, the other side of this is that because there's so many new investors getting into Airbnbs, there's a lot more demand for property management. There's a lot more people that are buying Airbnb properties that don't necessarily know how to maximize it, how to optimize it, or people that are buying cottages and that they want to be able to earn some additional income from it. Or they're buying a vacation home, a getaway property, and they want to earn additional income from it, but they don't want to manage it all themselves. And so that's where you come in if you're interested in managing other people's properties on Airbnb. It's a great method to go. I've talked about a lot on this channel before, but now is an exclusively great time to get in on it because of the increased demand and the increased opportunity, because there's so many new investors and new buyers getting into Airbnb properties. So if you want to learn more about that and how you can earn a full-time income managing other people's properties on Airbnb without actually buying, renting, furnishing, any of that, any properties on your own, then just click the other link down in the description below. That'll go through a free training on exactly how you can earn a full-time income managing other people's properties on Airbnb. We walk through all the details of how to find these people, how to get started managing the properties, how to actually run the operations of everything so it runs really smoothly. So if that's something you're interested in, then check out that other link to the free training in the description down below. And I hope this has been a really great video for you. I hope you got a lot of value from it. If you're still with me, then that means that you probably have. So I would really appreciate if you take a quick second to just press that like button. Every time you press the like button, it helps me out tremendously with YouTube's algorithm. So if you take a quick second to just hit the like button, give the video a thumbs up, it would mean a lot to me. It'd be very helpful for me and my channel. I really appreciate it. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, so a milestone that I'm really excited about. So let's keep this going. Let's keep the growth going. Just click that like button, and I would love to see that. It'd help me out tremendously. So with all that said, I hope you got value from this video, and I will see you in the next one.